Hello everybody, and welcome to an in-depth look at warrior talents and abilities for MOP. I hope you guys enjoy. Please like, fave, and subscribe. First, I'm going to start with the abilities lost. We have lost Intercept, Retaliation. Shield Block is now a protection spec ability only. Enrage Regen is now a talent, so you do not automatically have it. You have to pick it out of 3 other abilities. That's really all we have lost. Abilities gained is Die by the Sword. What Die by the Sword does is it increases your parry chance by 100% and reduces damage taken by 20% for 8 seconds. This is an amazing ability. Pretty much someone is pumping damage into you, any melee, it's going to parry almost anything. It can even parry a whole bunch of CC. It's really amazing. It's really good to counter rogues, I will say that. Abilities also gained for Fury specifically is an ability called Wild Strikes. Now, what Wild Strikes does is it reduces the healing on the target by 25%. It has replaced Slam in the Fury tree. It pretty much does the same thing. It was a proc chance, and like you would proc Slam, now it's just procking Wild Strikes, and you can proc up to 3 times. In the proc tree, you have an ability called Shield Barrier. It absorbs 16,304 damage, and it can absorb up to 48,912 damage if you have 60 rage. So, honestly, it's really an amazing ability for prot warriors, and I really am foreseeing warriors spamming that in RBGs. Now, abilities that just have changed in general, we still have them, they just changed. Deadly Calm is now a 1-minute cooldown. However, it doesn't make all your abilities cost no rage anymore, since certain abilities don't cost any rage, and pretty much all it does now is it makes your next 3 heroic strikes or cleaves rage cost by it reduces their cost by 10 for 8 seconds. So it makes the heroic strikes or the cleaves 20 rage instead of 30 rage. So it's not as amazing as it used to be. It's good if you pop it with like Avatar or with Recklessness or something, but it's not as amazing as abilities it used to be. It's kind of just, you kind of have it. The next abilities that have changed are Disarm, Intervene, and Shield Wall. They no longer have to be casted in defensive stance. This is a great ability. One thing that's always been fucking warriors is we would always have to have do a GCD just to disarm somebody or just to intervene. Now we can just do it on the fly instantly without even thinking twice. It's like that. It's instant. It's amazing. Also, honestly, I would never use Shield Wall outside of defensive stance, because if you use Shield Wall, which reduces damage by 40%, with defensive stance, which reduces damage by 25%, that's 65%. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't be in defensive stance when you pop Shield Wall, and it costs no rage now, so it's amazing. Other abilities that have changed, like I said, defensive stance, it increases damage it decreases damage taken by 25% and generates 1 rage every 3 seconds while in combat. So let's make this very clear: your hits and the damage you take generate no rage. Only like Mortal Strike or Bloodthirst generate rage. So in defensive stance, you're going to be rage start pretty badly. The next one is battle stance. Every time you hit somebody, it gives you 10 rage. Now, that may not sound like much, but also put charge in there and also put Mortal Strike in there, because they all generate rage now. It's a lot of rage. It's really good. Berserker stance now generates 6 rage per hit. However, it gives you 1 rage per 1% of your health taken. So say a melee cleave is on you, it's too simple. You just go to Berserker stance and you're going to be generating rage like no other. And I'm sure as long as your healer isn't CC'd, he'll be able to heal you like a boss. And really, you can just spam whatever abilities you want. Berserker stance is really good if you're getting trained. Things that have changed just all around about arms is Slam is only for arms now and is now instant. However, it does cost 30 rage. If you don't have a 2 proc of Overpower, you would want to use Slam over Heroic Strike. If you have a 2 proc, you would want to use Heroic Strike, and then if you have more rage, you want to use Slam. Otherwise, you want to use Slam because it does more damage. Thunderclap now applies the bleed effect to all targets and also applies weakened blows, reducing physical damage by 10%. They got rid of Demoralizing Shout and they added it to Thunderclap. So pretty much it's It's amazing ability, and if you're not spamming Thunderclap whenever it's up as arms, you're not doing the right thing, especially as WLS or WLD. Sweeping Strikes now cost 30 rage. However, it can be used at all times. Sweeping Strikes, what it does is it makes you hit another opponent for 50% of the damage you do to the opponent you're on. Let's make that very clear. It's 50%. It's not 100% damage anymore. But it can always be up. So it's a 10-second cooldown, and it lasts for 10 seconds. It's actually pretty amazing if you use it correctly, and I couldn't recommend using it enough. As already discussed, Fury. Wild Strike has replaced Slam and Fury Tree, and when applied, reduces healing by 25%. That's really all that's changed in Fury, aside from you do not have Intercept anymore, so you're using Charge. You're using pretty much all the abilities that Arms has. Just basic differences like you're using Bloodthirst, Raging Blow, and Wild Strikes. That's the only difference. They've made them pretty simplified. In the Prot tree, Shield Block is only a protection spell. However, every Shield Block now blocks every melee attack against you for 6 seconds and is on a 9-second cooldown. So this is really good against warriors, rogues, somewhat DK, somewhat ret, but most of their damage will still get through because it's not melee, it's magical. Holy, you know. But it's still a very good ability against rogues, warriors, stuff like that. I would still highly recommend using Shield Barrier more than anything, though, because that absorbs all damage in general, and it's really amazing. That really all there is to what has changed with warriors. I'm going to go through the talents now, and I'm going to show you a glimpse of what's different, how they work, what has changed about them. As you know, the whole talent systems work from 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. You get to choose 3. There's 3 talents, and you only get to choose 1. This talent system works a lot better, and honestly, I'm very happy that Blizzard did it. It was definitely something that was very much needed. First, we're going to go into the first set, which is Juggernaut, which is just your normal charge that you had in arms. It is a charge that's up every 12 seconds. Instead of every 20 seconds. That is what I went personally. I'm honestly not sure what I like more, Juggernaut or Double Time. Both of them feel very fluid and very nice. And really, it's up to you, whichever one you get. Double Time, what it does is you can charge twice in a row. Each use has a 20-second recharge time. But here's the shitty part about it. Each charge only generates rage once every 12 seconds. So if you charge somebody and then you charge someone again, you still only get rage for 1 charge. But if you charge and 12 seconds later you charge, you get rage again. It's kind of a bummer about that ability, but it's still actually a really good ability, especially if, say, you want to charge Shockwave the healer at the beginning of the fight and then charge right over to like the DPS you want to go to. Like it's pretty good, and that way you don't have to waste your heroic leap. There's also Warbringer. Your charge also knocks a target to the ground and stuns it for 3 seconds. Now, I'm going to make this very clear. With this ability, your charge is on a 20-second cooldown, so you lose a lot of mobility. That also being said, it shares DR with Shockwave, and it shares DR with Stormbolt. So, it's not very good. But hey, if you guys like it, go for it. Now we're going to go to the level 30 talents. Enrage Regen. As I said before, it's no longer a passive ability. You have to choose it. Also keep in mind that it does cost 60 rage unless you are enraged. So if you pop Berserker Rage with it, it will heal you and it costs no rage at all. However, one really good thing about this ability is it can be used while stunned now. It used to not be able to be done that way. Now it can, but it doesn't heal for as much. It heals you 10% instantly and 10% over 5 seconds. So it's good, but it's not going to give you the survivability you really need in the long run. Second Wind, this is what all the warriors are going right now. It's a really amazing talent. In duels, it's really good in duels. In threes, I can't say it's overpowered just due to the fact that people can kill you right through it. Warriors are going to be really reliant on healers next season. Warrior Pally, the synergy between it is just amazing now that Holy Pallies have Repentance. But second wind, what it does is when you are below 35% health, you regenerate 3 health per second. Whenever you are struck or stunned by immobilizing effect, you generate 20 rage over 10 seconds. So it gives you more rage. It gives you permanent health increase as long as you're below 35%. Now also keep in mind, once you're below 35%, a lot of classes can get you low enough to where they can do a killing blow, they can do an execute. DKs have a execute now. Everybody's got a way to kill you. So keep that in mind that it's good, but it's not amazing. Impending victory instantly attacks the target. Pretty much it's just a victory rush that you can use every 30 seconds. If you glyph it, it will heal you for 15% every 30 seconds. Now, let's make this very clear. This is a nice ability, but I really don't see it being used in PvP. I see it used more in PvE environment, just because it's always a heal you can use, and it's another damaging ability that doesn't do too bad of damage. But it's really up to you if you use it for PvP. I honestly would recommend not using that. Now we're going to go to the 45 talents. There is Staggering Shout. Causes all enemies within 20 yards that are snared to become rooted for 5 seconds. Now, it's up every 40 seconds too. So let me make this, I don't like this one, because how are you going to snare everybody? You have to choose this or Piercing Howl. So you can't just Piercing Howl and then pop that. No, it's not going to work that way. You have to snare all of them and then you have to pop it, or you have to snare one person and then pop it, so it only works on one person. It's pretty much your immobilization that they took away from you. But it's just not that good, and it can be dispelled. Let's make that very clear. The root can be dispelled. So honestly, I would not go for it. My personal choice is Piercing Howl. They have buffed it a little. It still does the same range. However, it now reduces their speed for 15 seconds instead of 6 seconds. This is amazing. You don't even need to use Hamstring anymore. The only time I use Hamstring is on my initial target at the very beginning, because it costs less rage than Piercing Howl. Piercing Howl costs 10 rage, Hamstring costs 7. Not that big of a difference, but when you're trying to get the pressure out, you need all the rage you can get, right? Honestly, I couldn't recommend going with Piercing Howl enough, and even at level 85, you just spam this so much. It really helps you get on the target. It really helps you get on mages and all that stuff. Now there's also Disrupting Shout. Interrupts all spell casting within 10 yards and prevents any spells in that school from being cast for 4 seconds. This is a really nice ability. It is. It's a really good ability. Now, let's also keep in mind, though, this shares DR with the Blood Elf ability. It also shares DR with Gag Order spec. So if you're Gag Order, or if you're a Blood Elf, this probably isn't going to be the one for you. And most warriors are going to go Gag Order, especially against caster teams, or really even a melee cleave. I mean, it's always good to heroic throw a healer and silence them for 3 seconds when you got no CC. I mean, you can't go wrong with Gag Order. It is what it is. Now we're going to go to the level 60 talents. Blade Storm. Okay, I can see people going Blade Storm for just BG fun, just to pad the damage meters with Recklessness and stuff like that, and maybe Avatar. Lots of damage, woo, fun. But the simple fact of the matter is, in a 3's environment, in a 2's environment, it still can be disarmed. It still doesn't do a lot of damage, really, at all. It's just a way to get out of CC, I guess you could say, which warriors are very mobile level 90. We don't exactly sit in CC as bad as we used to. So I would highly recommend not going Blaze Storm unless you're just trying to pad the meters in a normal BG. Then it's, fun. Shockwave is what I personally go with. This is an amazing ability. Every 20 seconds, you're able to AoE stun a group of people that are in front of you in a cone structure for 4 seconds. Now, this is huge. This is an amazing ability. I honestly couldn't recommend getting this enough, especially since you don't really have much utility aside from this. You have your fear, but that's really all there is to it. Also, I forgot to mention, please keep in mind that a fear, your Intimidating Shout, is now on a 1-minute cooldown instead of a 2-minute cooldown, which is just straight up amazing. I mean, once again, the synergy between Holy Pally Warrior is just insane now. I mean, you can't, if you're a warrior and you're not playing with Holy Pally, you're kind of gimping yourself. Now we're going to go to the next section, which is Dragon Roar. Dragon Roar hits like a fucking truck. Alright, I will not deny that at all. It does stun for 0.50 seconds. Now keep this in mind, this stun does not share DR with any other stun. It's the same thing as your charge stun. And thank God, because that would be retarded if it did. Um, Honestly, I have not lost a duel against any warrior or an arena match against any warrior that goes Dragon Roar. They can pop all their cooldowns. They can do all that. Since I play with a Pally, he can just pop me. Or I can just pop out, die by the sword, and that completely fucked the whole damage. Dragon's Roar is a big damaging ability, but I just don't see it very viable in the future. Unless you're just trying to global somebody real quick, especially since it's on a 1 minute cooldown, I don't think it's worth it. Shockwave is definitely the way to go for control and everything, and it does about half the damage of Dragon's Roar, so it's completely worth it, and it's up all the time. Now we're going to go to the level 75 talents. Mass Spell Reflect is my personal choice. Mass Spell Reflect is huge. What it does is it gives you an additional Spell Reflect. So on top of the Spell Reflect you already have, which is this one, you also have another Spell Reflect, which is this one, that goes on the whole team for 5 seconds. This is amazing if you can't eat a trap, or if you can't stop the poly, if you can't stop any magical ability. Blood Fears are going to be really difficult to counter because they're instant and kind of broken. Even my buddy Reinhart admits that. But Mass Spell Reflect is going to be huge, and it's going to be game breaking for warriors. If you learn how to use this, not just for yourself, but for your teammates, this could be the reason why you win or lose games. It's amazing. Now, if you're versing, like, say, a melee cleave, or like TSG, or fuck, I don't know. Yeah, TSG. Let's say TSG. Safeguard would definitely be the way to go. What Safeguard does is it replaces your Intervene, and it makes you do the same thing as Intervene does, but it reduces the damage taken on the target for 6 seconds by 20%. That's pretty big, and it doesn't share any cooldown or DR or anything with any other abilities that everybody has. So say you're playing KFC and your Pally doesn't have a bubble up, and they just switch to him real quick and they're just trying to global him. You pop Safeguard on him, whatever the Pally has plus that, it helps so much, and they probably won't get the kill because of Safeguard. You can also use this on your other DPS buddies too. Say they're getting trained, you just pop that real quick on them. Boom, that reduces their damage by 20%. Whatever plus whatever they have plus whatever the healer has on them. It's amazing, and I couldn't recommend it enough. The next ability is called Vigilance. You probably remember this at level 85. Prot had this. It did not do the same thing. However, Vigilance really is garbage. You can use it every 2 minutes, and what it does is it transfers 30% of the damage taken for 12 seconds to you. However, see, that's in my opinion garbage. It's up only 2 minutes, and it's going to transfer the damage to you. However, Safeguard is up every 30 seconds and transfers no damage at all. It just reduces damage by 20% for 6 seconds. So 12 second, 30% damage transfer to you, or Safeguard for 6 seconds and 20% damage reduction. No transfer. Obviously, you're going to go with Safeguard. Now we're going to go to the final section, which is the level 90 talents for warriors. Avatar is amazing. Avatar, what it does is it transforms you into an unstoppable colossus for 20 seconds, increasing your damage dealt by 20% and causing your attacks to generate 30% extra rage. While transformed, you are moved to movement impaired effects. Okay, do you know what this means? That means it's a freedom. It's a 20-second freedom. It's amazing, and it also increases damage, and it also increases rage regeneration. If you're popping this, you better be popping Recklessness and War Banner with it, because that's some big damage, and it's beautiful, and it's lovely. Hell, pop Deadly Calm too. It's on a 1 minute cooldown, and it's just amazing. You have the choice to pop Berserker Rage, because it does increase damage by 10% for 6 seconds. However, keep in mind, if you get feared, you're fucked. So I would recommend not popping that with it, unless you're just trying to do a video about globaling for no damn reason. Like my ass does sometimes. The next ability is called Bloodbath. For the next 12 seconds, causing your melee special attacks to deal an additional 30% damage as a bleed over 6 seconds. While bleeding, the target moves at 50% reduced speed, and it's up every 1 minute. I personally think this is garbage. As you can see by what I'm showing here, it's not that good. And the damage is by far the lowest out of all the damaging abilities. I really think it needs to be buffed, or the cooldown needs to be lowered by a great deal, or it needs to just be damage over time to actually be worth it. Right now, it's not good. It's not even worth it to me, honestly. But if you guys feel differently, please comment. I personally don't like it. The next ability is called Stormbolt. Stormbolt is an amazing ability. It hurls a weapon at an enemy, causing 100% weapon damage and stunning the target for 3 seconds. Deals an additional 300% weapon damage to a target that is permanently immune to stuns. Now, that's for PvE. 300%, that's permanently immune to stuns. A player can't be permanently immune, so you're never going to do that kind of damage to them. Now, this is nice. It doesn't replace... Originally, when it came out in the beta, it replaced Heroic Throw, but they changed that because nobody would go with it then. Stormbolt's very big. It's a very nice ability. What it does is you can stun, like say you focused Stormbolt the healer. Okay, so he's stunned for 3. Then you focus Heroic Throw the healer. Okay, so he's stunned for 3. Okay, then you can Shockwave him so he's stunned for 2. Then you can Fear him so he's in a Fear for 8. Plus all the CC everybody else has, or just fuck the Shockwave. You don't even need the Shockwave. Now keep in mind, Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Warbringer all share DR. So make that very clear. If you go Stormbolt, it's going to share DR with Shockwave, but Shockwave you're normally going to use on the DPS. You may use it on the healer every so often, but it's not going to be an insane amount. That's all there is to the talents. Now, I will have a in-depth Arms Warrior, Fury Warrior, and Prot Warrior guide on my channel soon. I really hope you guys like, fave, and subscribe, and I hope you all take care. You have a good day. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this in-depth information on Warriors. Please like and subscribe. Also, please check out my channel and subscribe there for great footage. I'll have, like I said, even more information regarding Arms, Fury, and Prot and PvP situations. I hope you guys enjoy. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.